The creator of Imperial Officer Grand Admiral Thrawn had some very interesting things to say about the direction that Star Wars in the Disney era is taking that villain. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. All right, so if you grew up in the 90s or even maybe before, you would be familiar with the Heir to the Empire book trilogy. It is one of the most fascinating Star Wars reads and should have been the basis for the Disney sequels in that franchise. Unfortunately, Disney decided to go a different direction, mainly because of licensing issues and money, not to mention the ego on Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, and J.J. Abrams, who thought they could do something better than George Lucas. Unfortunately, George Lucas is just a master at what he does. So instead of duplicating that, they went off on a totally different direction. However, fans remember the Heir to the Empire trilogy as something very special because it introduced one of the most memorable villains of all time. And I don't even think George Lucas was expecting how popular the character of Admiral Thrawn became. He was introduced by Timothy Zahn as one of the few admirals of the Empire who was not a human. He's blue skin, he's red eyes. I will admit the name of his species escapes me. Maybe we'll find out in a minute. Typically, the Emperor preferred to choose humans as his officers, but no one could deny just how strategic Thrawn was and how he would perform battles. In fact, in one of the Heir to the Empire books, I recall a conversation between Admiral Thrawn and the person who was kind of standing in for the Empire with the death of Lord Sidious and Darth Vader, where this person threatens Thrawn and says, "Hey, I'm going to demote you if you don't do as I say." And Thrawn goes, "Hey, you're welcome to do that." The Emperor tried it once. He said, "We should take this certain planet." I said it was a bad idea, but he called me a coward, demoted me, put someone else in charge, and we were completely decimated. And then he re-promoted me. So all that to say, Thrawn is very powerful. And I was excited when they introduced him into Rebels. I thought he was a very good addition to that series. Rebels isn't as good as Clone Wars. It's kind of when Disney started to introduce all the Disney-isms into Star Wars. We're seeing warning signs early on. But Thrawn was a compelling villain to introduce into that television show. And it was cool seeing him personified. Of course, we had seen him in video games before, but we had never seen him like in an actual canon, or as far as Disney is concerned, based television show. And the people over at thatparkplace.com actually caught up with Timothy Zahn, the sci-fi novelist who created Thrawn and wrote the Heir to the Empire trilogy. They asked him a few questions about Disney Star Wars, and I found them actually kind of interesting. Like I said, this is an exclusive from thatparkplace.com. They got a chance to run into Timothy Zahn at a fan convention, and he had some interesting things to say, so I want to read some of the article to give you an idea. Timothy Zahn is a renowned American science fiction author, best known for his influential contributions to the Star Wars expanded universe. His early career in writing began in the 1980s with short stories and novels that showcased his talent for intricate plots and well-developed characters. Zahn's distinct narrative style and aptitude for weaving complex storylines quickly gained him recognition in the sci-fi community. Perhaps, however, he is most famous for having created the character of Thrawn. The distinct genius villain of Star Wars has been brought in by Dave Filoni as the big baddie of Ahsoka, but most believe Thrawn is likely also the villain the Star Wars characters will take on in a trilogy of films orchestrated by Filoni and Jon Favreau. At a recent fan convention in Nashville, Tennessee called ICCC, that Park Place caught up with Zahn to ask him his opinion on modern Star Wars. Unfortunately, at this time, Disney has not been in contact with Zahn regarding even consultation for the films, nor for season 2 of Ahsoka. Zahn expressed to our reporters that while consultation credit would be wonderful, his dreams is for Lucasfilm to offer him a cameo role in one of the movies. When pressed on the character of Thrawn and how he is portrayed in the movies, Timothy Zahn was more concerned when asked about current Lucasfilm leadership and their ability to deliver on the character as he was formed in the novels. He had to say, "I trust Filoni to get it right. He's read the books, he cares about the characters, he gets it. I think he'll do it right. We'll see how they do with the next Ahsoka season. There's a good group over there at Lucasfilm," he added. "Pablo Hidalgo comes at it from a game's point of view, but he knows the characters too. I just hope the Disney higher-ups don't ruin it. Just for context, I think Pablo Hidalgo is a terrible human being. He is rude to the fans. He treats us with disdain, all because we don't appreciate his little genius ideas that he puts into some of the characters. Carrying on. When we reminded Mr. Zahn that there aren't many people above Dave Filoni anymore at Lucasfilm and Disney, he smiled and replied, and that's a good thing. It's surprising to us that Disney has not more forthrightly reached out to Zahn for consultation on the character. We've covered in the past how popular Zahn's books are, easily surpassing any enthusiasm Lucasfilm has found with modern novels. I'm going to let you head on over to thatpartplace.com to read the rest of the article. It is very interesting. They give some of the backstory to Thrawn, his appearances, also Zahn's works themselves, as well as the Disney connection to the character. I just want to say I'm a little disappointed that Zahn isn't getting, a bigger role sort of in the TV shows and in the upcoming films. Now, that Part Place is convinced that there's going to be a trilogy of movies from Favreau and Filoni. That is strictly a rumor. All we know for sure is that The Mandalorian and the Grogu film are in development. We don't really know if there's more movies down the pike, even though there's a ton mentioned. They always seem to be in some weird state of limbo. But I do hope that Disney does come forward and allow Zahn to have a bigger role in writing. I have actually met Zahn at a fan convention here in Phoenix. Super cool guy. He's let me talk to him for a few minutes. I praised his work, which is probably why, because I love the Heir to the Empire trilogy. I think that it should have been the template to the Disney sequels instead of that mishmash of J.J. Abrams and Ruin Johnson, or as we like to call them, Jar Jar Abrams and Ruin Johnson. I think that it would have been way better to have seen Thrawn take over the Empire and be the front villain for all of our favorite heroes. If that had been the case, we wouldn't have gotten deadbeat dad, Han Solo, weak-kneed Luke Skywalker, or the massive failure that was Princess Leia. Instead, we would have gotten the heroes all together, one place, the three of them together, charging into battle to fight Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, that's not to say I don't think that sort of the newer characters like, say, Ahsoka or Mando or whoever it is in the Disney canon can't take him on and do a good job. Certainly, Disney could pull this off. They have pulled off good works before, like with Star Wars Visions, Rogue One, Andor. So it's possible that they could do Thrawn justice in sort of a giant movie setting, but I'm just not holding my breath. They've let me down so many times, like with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, with the Acolyte series, with the Disney sequels. It is hard to watch one of my favorite franchises of all time crumble to pieces at the hands of this woke narcissist known as Kathleen Kennedy and all of her little minions, which sadly now comprise of Dave Filoni. She won him over by bringing Ahsoka back. She promoted him, and he promptly stabbed Jon Favreau in the back after that. So I don't think that Disney is going to do Grand Admiral Thrawn justice. I think that next time we see him, we won't recognize him from the books like we did in Rebels, but I don't think that's going to happen in live action context. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, and tell me what you think. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you don't want to support me on big tech, no worries. Click on the link to my locals community. It's in the description of the video. You can send me tips or become a monthly subscriber. You can also pick up one of my books. Guarantee there's nothing woke in any of these. Head on over to Amazon.com. You can search for Cacophony, The Seven Royals, Blessed Child, all available there. Get them, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake. Cause I've been living life right like I could